Mga higala, kumusta? Kini inyong igsoon, higala o galagad, pakiguban. Napod kaninyo pag-usab niini ato ang tulumanon, Panglantaw sa Kagabhion. Murag dugay-dugay na kita nga wala naka-live tungod sa pirti ka busy karong panahon na, no? Nigabot na ko sa balay, wala na ko'y time maghimo og topic para sa ato ang programa maong usahay dili ta maka-live. Sige lang mga igsoon, og dili na ta busy, matagabiin na ni ato ang programa. Pero karon nga Kagabhion, mga igsoon nato sang sa dili pa nato sugdan ng ato ang panaghisgot, ato sang i-shout out kining ato ang mga nag-like ug nag-heart sa ato ang episode atong niagi pag yung panahon, no? Si Willie Dahirok, Lilian Martinez Tubigon, Pastor Yong Monleon Makigangay Jr. Ito aning pastor diha sa Sayog Christian Fellowship, Marilo P. Faustino, Arturo Tubigon Jr., Ma'am Estrella Palir Bakar, o Ma'am Fialuna Flores Loningning. Daghang kayong salamat sa inyong pag-like, pag-heart sa ato ang live video atong nangaging mga panahon. Inunalanang atong nangaging mga panahon. Tungod kay dugay-dugay na gyud ta nga wala naka-live kay kining perting bisiha mga igsoon. Tonight I ask you not to listen casually, not to scroll mentally, and not to defend yourselves immediately. Tonight, I ask you to listen the way people listen when they know something important is being said. Because what we are talking about tonight is not just morality, not just religion, and not just personal behavior. What we are talking about tonight is the silent architecture of destruction. The kind that does not explode loudly, but collapses slowly from the inside. The church has long called these forces the seven deadly sins, not because they are dramatic, but because they are dangerous, precisely because they look ordinary. Many people think sin is something obvious: crime, violence, scandal. But the truth is more uncomfortable. Most sins that destroy lives, families, institutions, and even nations do not arrive shouting. They arrive whispering. They arrive as habits. They arrive as attitudes we excuse, justify, and normalize. Dili kalit nga guba ang kinabuhi. Hinay-hinay nga nagkabitak hangtod mulapok. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything, not something. Not big things only. Everything. If the heart is defected, the actions will follow. If the heart is confused, the decisions will reflect that confusion. If the heart is proud, greedy, angry, or lazy, no system, no policy, and no education can fully save what is broken from within. Let us begin where all collapses begins. Pride. Pride is not confidence. Pride is the refusal to be corrected. Pride is the belief that one position, status, or intelligence places them beyond accountability. Pride does not ask questions. Pride makes declarations. Pride does not listen. It interrupts. Pride does not examine itself. It examines others. Ang garbo mao ang sala nga mo ingon. Ayaw ko tudloi, kabalo ko. Pride is dangerous because it blinds people to their own flaws. That is why Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18 warns us. Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Notice the order. Pride comes first. Destruction follows later. Many leaders fall not because they were evil at the beginning, but because pride convinced them they could no longer be wrong. Many institutions fail not because they lacked talent, but because pride killed humility, learning, and reform. From pride flows greed. Greed is not about how much you have. It is about how much is never enough. Greed is the hunger that no achievement can satisfy. It turns success into obsession and service into self-interest. Ang hakog bisag naa na, mangayo pa. Bisag puno na, ganahan pa, gyud ug tugang. The Bible does not mince words in 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. When it says that the love of money is root of all evil, of all kind of evil. Greed turns public service into private business. It turns leadership into entitlement. It turns stewardship into exploitation. And when greed becomes normalized, corruption no longer shocks. It becomes expected. Then there is lust, a sin often misunderstood. Lust is not only about sexuality. Lust is any desire that overrules conscience, discipline, and respect. Lust says, I want it now, without asking, what will this cost? Kung ang tinguha mo ay maghari, ang hunahuna mahimong ulipon. Jesus addressed this directly because he understood where sin truly begins. In Matthew chapter 5 verse 28, it reminds us that sin is conceived in the heart long before it committed by the body. Lust objectifies people. It strips them of dignity. It reduces human beings into tools for satisfaction. And a society that treats people as object will eventually justify all kinds of abuse. That is another root of sin. Closely connected to lust is envy. Envy is one of the most poisonous sins because it does not seek improvement. It seeks comparison. Envy does not ask, how can I grow? It asks, why are they ahead? Ang masinahon, dili ganahan mo lambo siya. Ganahan lang, mapildi ang uban. James chapter 3 verse 16 warns us that where envy exists, disorder follows. Envy destroys unity. It poisons teamwork. It turns cooperation into competition and progress into resentment. In families, envy breeds silent hatred. In workplaces, it breeds sabotage. In nations, it breeds division disguised as ideology. Then comes gluttony, often reduced to jokes about food, but far more serious in reality. Gluttony is excess without restraint. It is consumption without responsibility. It is indulgence without discipline. Ang walay pagpugong sa kaugalingon po mapildi. Gluttony weakens societies because it trains people to want comfort without sacrifice, pleasure without effort, and reward without responsibility. When a culture becomes addicted to excess, it loses the ability to endure hardship, delay gratification, or commit long-term. Another, we have wrath. Wrath follows a sin that feels justified. Wrath tells people they are right to be angry, right to destroy, right to insult, right to conceal. Wrath feels powerful, but it is deeply deceptive. Ang kasuko nga walay pagpugong murag kalayo, nga mosunog bisan ang nagdalan ini. James chapter 1 verse 20 reminds us that human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. Wrath destroys dialogue. It silences listening. It replaces wisdom with volume. And when anger becomes identity, peace becomes impossible. Finally, there is sloth, the most misunderstood sin of all. Sloth is not merely laziness. Sloth is avoidance of responsibility. Sloth is delay disguised as patience. Sloth is comfort choosing over calling. Ang tapulan dili pirmi katong walay lihok. Usahay katong dili gusto o kausaban. Sloth is dangerous because it allows problems to grow unchecked. It allows injustice to continue unchallenged. It allows decay to spread quietly. Proverbs warns us that sloth leads not to rest, but to ruin. Now let us be honest with ourselves. These sins are not innocent concepts. They are alive. They shape cultures. They influence institutions. They guide decisions. A society ruled by pride confuses correction. A society consumed by greed forgets the vulnerable. A society addicted to wrath becomes divided beyond repair. A society trapped in sloth postpones reform until it's too late. Kung ang sala ang naghari sa kasing-kasing sa katawhan, bisag unsa ka nindot ang balaod, mapukan gihapon. But this is not a message of despair. This is a message of warning and therefore hope. The Bible never exposes sin without offering transformation. For every deadly sin, there is a healing virtue. For pride, humility. For greed, generosity. For lust, purity. For envy, gratitude. For gluttony, discipline. For wrath, patience. For sloth, diligence. Romans chapter 12 verse 2 reminds us not to conform to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Transformation does not begin with pointing fingers outward. It begins with examination inward. So tonight, let us stop asking who is at fault and start asking what we tolerate. Let us stop pretending these sins belong only to others, because nations do not collapse in one dramatic moment. They decay slowly, one accused sin at a time. Ug kana mga higala mao ang tinuod nga mensahe sa 7 deadly sins. Dili aron hadlokon ta, kundi aron pukawon ta. Kay kung ang kasing-kasing mausab, ang kinabuhi mausab, ug kung ang katawhan mausab, ang nasod mosunod. Kini inyong higala alagad ug igsoon Jeremias Labahaw Tubigon. Ining atong programa Panglantaw sa Kagabhion, di nang kahayag nagadan-an bisan pa sa kanangit. Sa dili pa ta mo tapos sa makausapa moingon, ako moingon nga sa atong pagpangandoy ug matarong nga katilingban, ang kamatuoran gayud ang atong suga. Ug sa kangit-ngit sa kasaysayan, ang tinud-anay nga pamunuan ang labing hayag na paglaom. Daghang salamat sa inyong pagtanaw o pagpaminaw. Shout out fi Aluna Flores, Willie Dahirok, and Ma'am Insing Kilo, Inovin Kilo. Kini inyong alagad o igsoon. Nagapangindahay nga ang Dios magapanalangin ug magapanalangin kanatong tanan. Maayong gabi.